Addressed to a distinguished American minister by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Let the great nations mingle. England, vow to thy free child extend a smile of love. On her proud march with joy behold her move, and midst her kingdoms raise her youthful brow. And thou, America, in ails and arms, the worthy mother, read her scrolls of fame, the hide scant of many a stainless name, of heroes formed mid danger's wild alarms, of marvellous statesmen, poets. Still may come thy sons with kingly welcome to our shore, still will we hail the wind that wafts them o'er, and with regretful blessings speed them home. Charmed in their noble virtues, still to trace the purity and pride of England's race. Addressed to the Rev J Johns by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Work of thy pure labours, sympathy from all, from every kindly heart, the thee will be, and their strength and human sympathy, which like heaven's dew upon thy soul shall fall. Seek out the dens of crime, rebuking mild, with Saviour spirit, the self-wrecked, the lost, but will with tenderness their sins accost, with sternest truths, and save each wandering child. Seek the abodes of virtuous poverty, for there thy love the child of one shall raise, flush the pale cheek with hope of happier days, and they then, guardian, parent, friend shall see, at thy approach, labours blessed and dear, midst toil and care and pain, where sweetest peace is there. Amidst the darkness of the ancient time, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Amidst the darkness of the ancient time, did dreams of beauty linger, thought and grace beamed forth serenely on the sculptured face. Heroic deeds, the achievements of each clime, had their memorial, deathless and sublime, in the pure marble. Now the virtuous few reap not their fame, the noble deeds they do are all unknown, they perish in their prime. Yet do they leave to this benighted earth a prouder gift than Grecian art bestowed. The burning thoughts that raise the soul to God, the hopes that teach it of its heavenly birth, and those immortal energies of mind which sanctify and save and bless mankind. An apparition passed me by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. An apparition passed me by, it was the shade of time, and still with cold, relentless eye he fled from clime to clime, and as life fled, he bore a throng on his resistless path along. The proud, the high before him bowed, and beauty bent her head, and of that great, that haughty crowd, all gazed on him with dread. Even they who mocked him paled with fear, while gazing on his wild career. He passed, and nations sunk away into oblivion's deep, while youth, in its meridian day, went to its dreamless sleep. The mourner bent to pour her tear. He came, she was no longer there. The bright rose fled the radiant brow, and every matchless grace, and tresses whiter than the snow, shaded the lovely face. The form, elate in youthful pride, bent to the faintest blast that sighed. Yet midst that rushing throng I met one face all calm and sweet. No cloud was there of vain regret, no step that would retreat. Undaunted there that meek form stood, fearless in its own sanctitude. The vision came, and brighter light shone from that glorious eye, and crimsoned with divine delight the cheek of pallid dye. As the dark wings rushed on the blast, amidst his blissful smiles they passed. Art thou of earth? By Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Art thou of earth? Thine is a sainted brow, pieces upon its arc of stainless white, and thine unclosed eye sheds on the sight a soul of virtue in its ray's mild glow. There is no touch upon that perfect face of frail mortality, and the faint rose which o'er thy cheek its softened lustre froze, as all that round thee breaths of human grace. But for that tender blush, so warm with life, thou mightest by angel deemed Spirit of heaven. So pure the thoughts which in that bosom haven, so far beyond one mortal feeling's strife. Art thou of earth? O speak, and if thou art, give me to read one calm and guileless heart. Baptism by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. The mother stands in the sacred aisle, and she looks on her child with a trembling smile. That smile is mingled with many a fear, and scarce can she check a rising tear. In a world which is full of care and strife, do her dreams now picture his future life? She has brought her babe, she has brought it there, where so oft for him she has breathed the prayer. She has brought him an offering to her God, on the spot where her own fond steps have trod. And that early love is mingled now with the Christian's hope on her kindling brow. She turns her gaze to that helpless one upon her for love and protection thrown, and its feebleness causes the tear to start, and she presses him closer to her heart. And to the fount she draws near still, as a pledge she will shield him from every ill. The holy words on the air arise, and hushed are that mother's anxious sighs. Her thoughts are filled with a deeper faith, as she turns to hear what the preacher saith. And every doubt has vanished away, as in fervent trust she kneels down to pray. Her child and his fate, oh, what does it seem, now that holier and sweeter dream? What loftier destinies are given, that feeble thing is the heir of heaven, and the mind, with powers and talents sublime, is given to her training for more than time. Oh, as she hears of immortal doom, how changes upon her cheek the bloom, how earnest her prayer to him who gave, for aid to help her to succour and save. What a sacred trust she feels is hers, what a deathless hope in her bosom stirs. It is over, her pledge is borne above, and her lips have sealed that reed of love. Her tears have attested her heart's deep woe, and smiles of affection are round her now. She has promised to give him a Christian's trust. She has raised her thoughts from the things of dust. It is over, but many and many a year may return to that mother's heart the fear. And as to the altar she now has turned, till the holier faith in her bosom burned, so through every mortal change and care must her strength, her comfort, her peace be prayer. Books: Sweet Associates of the Silent Hour by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Books: Sweet Associates of the Silent Hour, what blessed aspirations do I owe to your companionship, your peaceful power, high and pure pleasure ever can bestow. Of noble ones I trace the path through life, joy in, then joys, and sorrow as they mourn. Gaze on, then, Christian, animating strife, and shed fond tears o'er their untimely urn. Or, with heroic beings, tread the soil of a freed country, by themselves made free, and taste the recompense of virtuous toil, the exaltation of humanity. With Washington the battlefield I lead, or walk with Howard in the dungeon's gloom. With Channing purify the bigot's creed, and breathe the glorious that are yet to come. With Romilly a people's rights I guard, and humanize the savage penal law, and of benevolence the high reward with him from purest, holiest fonts I draw. Or with my father's spirit taste the charm of all philanthropy and virtue give. Mild judgment, genius bright, and feeling warm, as an iris works they shall forever live. Or in thy page, my Henry, see what youth, adorned with noblest virtues, may achieve. arresting signs at the bar of truth, labors which death's cold hand may not bereft. O ever foremost in thy country's page, thy toils, my brother, shall prolong thy name, a bright example to a faultless age of tender years, yet ripened in thy fame. Yes, sweet the lonely hours I consecrate, my loved companions, to your influence blessed. The joys ye bring me are secure from fate, the glad forerunners of eternal rest. Bright rose by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower, bright rose that on my father's honored vest have shed sweet perfume, breathing on his dance the gales and odors spring's young sun's dispenser, opening flowers, an early fragrance dressed. Bright rose, now sacred are thy fading leaves, and dear the withering stem, for thou dost tell of hours of peace and love remembered well, a father's love, of which time ne'er bereaves. Oh, be it mine like thee to shed delight on Iris' autumnal day, and sweetly cheer the lingering hours of declining year, and keep cold winter's blast long, long away. So, like thy fragrant flowers, shall thought of me unto his soul's sweetness and sunshine be. Charity by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Oh, who shall say he knows the folds that veil another's inmost heart, the hopes, thoughts, wishes which it holds, in which he never bore a part, that hidden world eye cannot see? Oh, who shall pierce its mystery? Presumptuous aim, that shrouded soul, unmarked by every human gaze, is open but to his control, who traces every secret maze. It is not thine to bound its faith, or say what feelings swell beneath. There may be hope as pure, as bright as ever sought eternity. There may be light, clear heavenly light, where all seems cold and dark to thee. And where thy vision mourns the dust, there may be trust, delightful trust. The lingering beam of twilight dies, and canst thou whisper where 'tis fled? Where was a glow in summer skies? Where was that rosy lustre shed? The sweetness of the evening dews, their fragrance, how do they diffuse? And tell me, spring's first tender flower, how does it burst its icy sheath? The sapphires on their winged hour, what spirit bids them freshly breath? If nature's secrets be not thine, how then the human soul divine? Go, bend to God, and leave to him the mystery of thy brother's heart, nor vainly think his faith is dim, because in thine it hath no part. He too is mortal, and, like thee, would soar to immortality. And if, in duty's hollowed sphere, like thee he meekly, humbly bends, with hands unstained, and conscience clear, with life's temptations he contends, O leave them that unbroken rest, the peace that shrines a virtuous breast. And if his thoughts and hopes should err, still view him with a gentle eye, remembering doubt and change and fear are woven in man's destiny. And when these clouds are passed away, the truth shall dawn like opening day. Christian Consolation by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. When doubts and fears assail my soul, which trembling owns their dark control, when sorrows thicken o'er my head, and when my path with clouds is spread, when earthly hope has passed away, and friendship sheds a fainter ray, oh, in that hour of deep distress, where shall I seek for happiness? I'll seek it in the lowly cot, in blessing the lone sufferer's lot. I'll seek it by the dying bed, where Christian peace I'd strive to shed. I'll seek it in the humble prayer, with which I soothe a breast of care. I'll seek it where the teardrop flows with me more gently o'er its woes. Ah yes, compassion's tender train may bring me back my peace again. I will not brood our selfish loss, or mine to bear the bitter cross. I will not meditate my grief, when wretchedness demands relief. The ministry of love is mine, the aim, the hope, the deed divine. To bless, to comfort, and to save, I render all to him who gave. Destiny by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Mid anxious bondings of futurity, sleep fell upon me, and methought I stood, trembling and pale, amid the battle flood, compassed with terror and calamity. It was a bitter conflict, and mine eye shrank from the fearful wildness of the sight, when lo, a deep voice, "This is destiny, gird on thy heavenly armor for the fight, face the world's trials." Wondering I turned, and viewed a form of gentleness and grace, high thoughts and youth set glowing on his face, and in his eye a holy ardor burned. "O who art thou?" I cried. He smiling spread a shield before me, and the darts around played harmless on it. My weak steps he led, and if I slightly sighed, he caught the sound. "Art thou my guardian angel?" "Sent by heaven I come," said he, "to share thy mortal doom. One common pilgrimage to both is given, one heart, one home, one summons, and one tomb." Do I not laugh at midnight to gaze forth? By Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Do I not laugh at midnight to gaze forth upon the hollowed skies, and front when beauty drinks solemn thoughts of purity and love, when sacred light conveying images of a more holy presence, even of him all light, all purity? Do I not laugh to send my thoughts beyond those crystal walls, far into the deep heavens, to those calm homes that wait the spirit, here beatified by human griefs and sufferings? Are not sweet the visions of vainglory and repose that fall upon me softly? In such hour I feel my immortality. My heart answers the sacredness of all around, the charm, the fascination of the scene, and reads, delighted, evidence of God. On self wings my thoughts have burst the bound of this low earth, and past those sinning orbs have traversed that wide ever, to the throne of him, the living one, have seen the array of hosts angelic, who, in raptured state, bend when, blessed brows to hail him, have drunk in immortal music tones divinely sweet, attuned to praise, have heard in awed delight voices I loved on earth, as seraphim hymning his goodness, ever, ever on in deeper, holier cadence, and, inspired by sudden adoration, I have knelt beyond those radiant bands at mortal's distance to the incomprehensible, and burned to be an angel too, and learn his will, and do his high command, and traverse heaven upon the wings of an unburied love. Presumptuous musings, yet beheld perchance with tenderness and pity by the power who breathed the aspirations in our breast, for all the bright and beautiful, for good in every earthly form, and higher still the boundless aspirations after him, the living first, for the immortal waters, which not even faith supplies. My heavenly Father, I ask thee not for more, still feed this fire, mid the earth's darkening scenes, still guide me on, and I will follow the invisible, even with a childlike trust, nor ask for light, nor shrink from trial, but confiding give the soul into thy keeping, and with smiles to burst these bonds, await thine angel, death. Epithalamium by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Bright be the day, and fair the hour, when, yielding to thy gentle power, around thine alpha, love, we stand, to form a high and sacred hand. Yes, here our youngest flower is come, to seek a new and dearer home, with virgin smiles and heart elate, to seal with one small ring her fate, her lover's daily lot to share, to bless his board, his hearth, his prayer, and to refine and raise his heart by the pure joy those smiles impart. And he, protection, care, and love, in glad returned, is his to prove, her wish foresee, her sorrow soothe, and guard with tender hand her youth, her joys and griefs through life to rest upon one sympathizing breast. So shall no canker e'er invade the bosom of their peaceful shade. So shall each bright day brighter seem, when smiling in love's radiant beam. May each fond wish we breathe them here, we round them through each future year, and this glad morning prove to be the herald of then destiny. Evening by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O evening, in thy light, subdued and pale, I love to wander forth, then the cold breeze upon the night cloud flees, and deep thy shades prevail. When all is hushed, and nature seems to share with human hearts the universal prayer, I love to meditate, as on thy sky sits the blessed Empress of the silent night, on realms more pure and bright, and raise my mournful eye from earth and grief, and the dark ills of time, to heavenlier scenes and visions more sublime. And as the million rays of worlds of bliss rise up in the dun void, and seem to say, a Father's hand upon our way hath launched us through the dark abyss, awed by their silent glory, swift I turn from hopes and fears of death, and holier feelings burn. And in my raptured soul I consecrate all past devotion, and I feel how vain all mortal joy or pain in such a fleeting state, and raise my soul beyond a few brief tears to the great Author of eternal years. Then evening, as upon my soothed heart thy breath is felt, and falls thy cooling shade, and heaven's own calm surveyed, a holier influence they impart. And while thy gloomy clouds above me roll, a brighter day is dawning on my soul. However thus be mine thy hollowed hours, thy twilight shadows, and thy fitful sighs, thy breezes cool that wildly rise, thy fragrant closing flowers. And ever mine thy soft, mysterious spell, that makes the human heart sadly yet sweetly swell. Farewell, the memory of thee will not fly, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Farewell, the memory of thee will not fly, like the light summer joys which once we shared. Oh, it will live in my heart's treasury, still bright and beautiful and unimpaired. There will I meditate the virtues rare, which formed the daily beauty of thy youth, and pray for spirit like thy own, to share thy faith, thy peace, thy calmness, and thy truth. O early hallowed, thy unfainting feet tread in the immortal paths, yet I am here, mourning that thou must seek that blessed retreat. There waits thy great reward, and my warm tear is pouring rapidly on that cold shrine, that last sad trace of thee that now is mine. Father of heaven, thy glorious smile of love, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Father of heaven, thy glorious smile of love is ever round us in life's darkest gloom, chasing the clouds that deepen round our doom, lifting our thoughts to harmonies above, supernal mystic strains. O ne'er remove thy gracious presence from thy creature's breast. In thee alone, O God, our sweetest rest we ever find. In thee we live and move, Breathe o'er us the high mysteries of thy grace, the immortal dream, the heaven-informed desire. Plumb our weak spirits with thy holy fire, and every meaner earthly thought efface. So shall our souls, raised as on angels' wing, to thee their purest adoration bring. Forth from the Saracen's far land by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Forth from the Saracen's far land a princess rode, her fair foot touched the English strand, on English soil she trod. The foreign language met her ear, unheeded and unknown, for oh, her heart by love was tuned to one fond word alone, her lover's name. Through crowds she went, the crowds she heeded not, his name with every air was blent in every changing spot. Gilbert. His sweet lips cried, and then did thousands press around, and wondered gazed, until again she uttered that loved sound. And Gilbert, Gilbert, still the wind bears on each varying gale. Street after street she walks resigned, with steadfast cheek and pale. Her lovely hair streams on the breeze, soar at her gentle feet, and yet she stays not till she sees the face she dies to meet. Is it a dream? That manly brow, that mien of youthful pride, which flies from all the charms it know, and rushes to her side, which folds her to that noble breast, and gently dries her tears, and takes her to a home of rest, and soothes away her fears, which leads her to his kindred's arms, even as his own, his bride, and asks of all her fond alarms amidst their wanderings wide, and blesses her as doubly dear, for toil and danger his, who for his sake despised all fear and bore all miseries. His name her only talisman, how proudly did he smile, to hear how it had led her on through all the secret isle. And oh, how gratefully he raised his soul to heaven above, and that almighty guardian praised, who thus had saved his love. Friendship by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. How sweet it is in grief to see the eyes we love all wet with tears, fresh from those founts of sympathy that mingle with our hopes and fears. How sweet it is to hear the heart on which we long have leaned our own, the holiest hopes and truths impart with tenderness in every tone. We weep indeed, but friendship pours a solace on our hour of woe, and changes those weak earthly showers into affection's purest glow. Pressed from the bitterness of pain, to strength and trust and courage rise, and when we find 'tis not in vain, we nurse our sacred sympathies. In doubt, in danger, thus we see, she kindles up her generous flame, and points us to eternity, the glorious source from whence she came. She leads the fainting spirit there from scenes with earthly anguish full, and heaven's high hope becomes more clear, and life itself more beautiful. O guide us on now, light us still, O shield us through this veil of tears. The hearts with hope and patience fill, and soothe to peace our closing years. We will not ask a lengthened day, another hour we would not live. Then while thy smile should bless our way, thy voice its touching comfort give. Thy hand shall close the dropping eye, thy trust shall still the throbbing breast, and thine shall be the latest sigh that wafts us to the realms of rest. Funeral Hymn by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Pour your tears, of the laughter of many years. Count as many virtues our, pour your fond tears, fondly pour. God hath sent them for relief in your deep and sudden grief, and his angel hears on high every drop that dims your eye. Your beloved hath his abode on the bosom of his God, and hath left ye yet below, struggling on through toil and woe. Bright forms flit amid the gloom, guardians of the new-made tomb, yet more dear to him the sigh breathed from human sympathy. As thy grief bursts forth to God, as thy fond lips press the sod, turn thy weeping eyes above to his own heaven of peace and love. Beyond those radiant spheres he stands, amidst the bright immortal bands, The unfading crown awaits his brow, yet even in bliss he looks below. What seeks his gaze he sees we weep, in anguish o'er his seeming sleep, and fain would give thee sign of joys eternal and divine. It may not be, yet blissful trust shall raise thy dropping thoughts from dust, and holiest aspirations be thy pledge of immortality. Go read it in those shining skies, in thine own heart's deep sympathies, in the outpourings of that love which death itself may not remove. Go seek it in the hollowed book, on its calm heavenly pages look, and soothed and comforted and blessed, there shall thy wearied heart find rest. Go to thy bed of down, but as the storm, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Go to thy bed of down, but as the storm of winter rages o'er, forget not those round whose unsheltered head the tempest blows. And as thine own is pillowed soft and warm, lulling to gentle slumbers, let the prayer of natural pity move thee for the poor, who wander outcasts from the rich man's door, and shiver in the bleak and midnight air, whose fate is death or famine. Thou wilt rise, when morning dawns, unto a happy life, but even existence is to them a strife, and they are shut from home's soft sympathies. High seek them, save them, so shall heaven repay with sweeter dreams thy night, with heavenlier hopes thy day. Good Morn, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Good morn, good morn. See the sweet light breaking our lull and dale to greet thy waking. The dark grey clouds are flitting away, and the young sun sheds forth a twilight ray, and a halloo of bloom is in the skies. Yet the night of slumber is on thine eyes. The opening dew lies fresh on the flower, and sweetly cool is the youthful hour. And the birds are twittering their tender song, the bright and weeping boughs among, and all seems fresh and with rapture rife, while waking into conscious life. O rouse thee, the precious time is fleeting fast, and merrily chime the morning bells, and the beautiful view thy touch should arrest is fading too. The glow of the cloud is darkening fast, and the sunny mist is almost past, and thy lyre is lying all unstrung, and thy maiden hymn is still unsung, and thy lip is mute, and thy knee unbending. And where's the sweet prayer to heaven ascending? What, slumbering still? Arise, arise, for thy lovely dreams are fantasies, and mock thy waking. But come with me and listen to life's reality. Oh, come and muse on the deeper sleep, o'er which hope will her silent vigils keep, and me soothe and shield with her guardian wing, the spirit's secret fluttering, and lead it on to that brighter day which knows no evening and no decay. Had I the Hebrew prophet's power, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Had I the Hebrew prophet's power to strike the rock, and give the waters freely gushing o'er to those who drink and live, then would I touch the stony heart, and bid the tears come forth. The cruel spirit should depart, that pains the suffering earth. Vain hope, but drop by drop the stone some faint impression wears. So fervently I labor on, and wait the future years. He who denied his Lord at the mild gaze, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. He who denied his Lord at the mild gaze of his reproaching eye, turned round and wept. 1,000 troubled thoughts his bosom swept, and better had he borne heaven's angry gaze than that meek glance, that look of sorrowing love, which with such deep remorse his bosom filled. Ah, do not Christian duties unfulfilled be our denial to the throne above? And as we hear the mild and sacred law which marks our faithlessness, Oh, do not we review our careless lives indignantly, and feel a holier hope our bosoms draw to that blessed word, that pure reproving light, which beams with heaven's own radiance on our side? Her cheek was pale, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Her cheek was pale, and in life's opening pride, at omen of the grave, and on her brow there was a light at times, a radiant glow, which told the thoughts within to heaven alight. Her voice was gentlest music, yet its tone thrilled strangely on the listener's startled ear, and breath of change and death, and dreams of fear, our fond glad hearts were with those accents thrown. She seldom wept, yet none without a tear could gaze upon her, fading like a flower, which, timidly unfolding in some hour of wintry storm, has met the gale severe, and yielded all its beauty to the blast, as the relentless north wind o'er it passed. How blessed of virtuous minds the union sweet, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. How blessed of virtuous minds the union sweet, when gently bound by life's most sacred tie, then hours and years soft and unnoticed fly in some beloved and beautiful retreat, midst books and flowers and men's, and dear yet the silent fondness of a loved one's eye, the radiance of his smile, the heart's reply to the unspoken words, the eyelid wet with joy's most holy tears. This is earth's bliss. Is there a pure, more enduring good? Hope, faith, and love us linked in sanctitude? Ah yes, and worlds above, more blessed than this, earth's tears and doubts and partings past forever, two hearts to meet, that never more shall sever. How oft beneath his blessed and healing wings, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. How oft beneath his blessed and healing wings he would have gathered me, and I would not, like a weak bird, all heedless of my lot, perverse and idle in my wanderings. Now my soul would return, and trembling brings her wearied pinion to its wonted rest, and faint with its short flight and flutterings, would seek a refuge in its parent breast. O Father, in thy mercy shelter me, for I am worn with mortal miseries. My dark and earth-tangled spirit free, and plummet to ascend its native skies, with loosened wing to thy high rest to soar, and never to desert its mansion more. I cannot part from thee, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I cannot part from thee, thine image still lingers around me with all beauteous things. Whate'er is bright and pine the memory brings, and life with lovelier dreams, 'tis thine to fill. In prayer I hear thy accents, soft and deep, catch from thine eye devotion's holiest glow. In grief thy sighs seem breathing, hushed and low, thy soothing tones around me when I weep. In joy thy smile still beams its gentle light, radiant with feeling, sympathy, and love. Thy form is around me wheresoe'er I rove, thy sweet sad gaze still fills my tranced sight. I cannot part from thee, no, thou art shrined with all high, holy visions of my mind. I heard a song, and it softly fell, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I heard a song, and it softly fell on my ear like one of other years, and I felt my heart to its cadence swell, and its sweetness drew some lingering tears. Oh, it made me muse on many a one who listened once with me to the strain. Long, long from all but my memory gone, the loved whom I never may see again. It made me sad, for it brought the days when my hopes were bright and my heart was young, when my lips were tuned to joy and praise, and the freshness of life was in my song. I listened and wept, yet when it was hour, so strangely sweetness mixed with pain, but though my very heart tore, I asked for that mournful strain again. I raise my eyes to thee, Great Light Supreme by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I raise my eyes to thee, great Light Supreme, within with mortal weakness still I see truth, justice, goodness, grace, benignity, encircling thee with glory. Ever beam the rays of love from thee, and as they stream, wakening thy world to beauty and delight, a thousand forms of gladness fill the sight. The air is rich with sweets, and still they seem, mountain or valley, tree or smaller flower, to taste thy bounty. Earth itself is full with forms of life, more high and beautiful, the throbbing hearts that serve thee and adore. O Light Supreme, eternal fount, thy will of virtue, hope, and joy, how may I best fulfill? I saw that eye when I was bright, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I saw that eye when it was bright, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I saw that eye when it was bright, the feelings pure and sparkling ray, nor thought, alas, how soon that light of heavenly beam would fade away. I met that smile when it was warm with life and hope and glowing joy, nor dreamt how quick its silent charm the hour of suffering might destroy. I heard that eloquence of heart, the music of that gentle tone, forgot, alas, we were to part, and deemed its sweetness all my own. That eye is dim, that smile is cold, that heart-bright gaze forever chilled, I sit and muse on days of old, on many a vision unfulfilled. The mourner's vigil now is mine, I seek not, ask not for relief, but bending low at memory's shrine, I pour a gush of living grief. Vain grief! I gaze upon the tomb where all thy early virtues sleep, then muse upon thy heavenly home, and envy thee, cease to weep. I saw the waters as bright they lay, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I saw the waters as bright they lay in the lovely calm of a summer day. The fair blue sky shone clear above, all nature breathed of peace and love. And near me there were radiant eyes, as calm and clear as those summer skies. And gladly I gazed on the flowing tide, for those that laughed were at my side. The sun in glory and splendor shone, and proudly the vessel glided on, and softly the distant landscape played in its varying hues of light and shade. And my heart was glad. Short time passed by, and again did the white-winged vessel fly on the evening gale, and I was there, but alas, the scene was no longer fair. The eyes and the smile I laughed were gone, and I sat and gazed on the waves alone. Brief time had fled, yet the shade had passed o'er my heart, and life since I stood there last. Some best beloved had fled away to a calmer shore and a brighter day, and all life seemed to my tear-dimmed eye as brief as the waves that glided by. The evening shades fell chill and cold, but my heart was filled with the dreams of old. The gentle sound of the water's moan to my memory recalled a lovelier tone, for the setting sun, which o'er me fell, shone again the eyes I had loved so well. All fled, yet I shed no tear. I stood in faith and in calmness there. O'er my troubled spirit the shadows rose, but one gaze above brought my heart repose. My lost and my loved were there, and I breathed to the evening gale one sigh. I stood beside a deathbed scene by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I stood beside a deathbed scene, a mother bent and wept, but deep within her breaking heart a deathless faith she kept. She gazed upon her little one, so beautiful and still, and humbly tried to yield him up unto her Maker's will. She bent and kissed his pallid brow, she joined her hands in prayer, and then I knew the Christian's hope had surely entered there. I stood beside their bridal band, and all was gay and bright, in opening youth and radiant bloom, that bride was a fair sight. She gave her hand, she gave her trust, she gave her sacred vow, but not a change of feeling crossed the calmness of her brow. Yet she had broke another's hope, and left the true and tried, and made herself a sacrifice to splendor and to pride. I saw a lone and wretched hut, and it looked cold and poor. An aged and a helpless form sat shivering at the door. Her fire was low, her comforts few. I looked with pity there, and vowed to see a face cast down with sadness and despair. Her eye was bright, her smile was kind, and as she worked she sung, and cheered herself with hymns of praise, as slow she crept along. And when I felt that life was not what it might seem to lie, that faith and patience are sweet fruits that spring from misery, and that the Christian's glorious hope can brighten every scene, and in the dark and anguished hour shed gleams of joy between. The mother held a hope in death, the lonely one was blessed, but the bride in all her splendor had not found the Christian's rest. I was within a home where nature smiled, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I was within a home where nature smiled in perfect loveliness. A range of hills, as pure as blue as ever blessed the heaven, bounding the horizon. The autumnal fields in rich profusion waving, every hedge and little bank with brightest fragrance blooming. In the dark lanes, shadowed with deepest green, the wildflowers springing, fading, and renewing from day to day, then blossom, till the eye drank beauty carelessly, and the hand roved from bud to bud, almost unconsciously, so wildly fresh they grew. The harebell there upraised its little head of tender blue to the gale trembling, and the woodbine wreaths luxuriantly wound about the trees, with ivy intertwined, and forest shrubs. The pale rose, the expanding, poured its light and rare perfume, and the dark crimson one blushed out its sweetness on the quiet air. Our music was the warbling of the choir, whose little throats of heaven-taught melody are never out of tune. The only other, the artless strains of rustic gratitude, waked on the Shabbat morn, when simple hearts lift up then homage to the God who made them. The home we dwelt in was in a seclusion. It did admit of none but nature's world. The busy throngs of life were far away. The rocks, the lulls, the valleys, and the woods became our company. We haunted them, and in return they breathed upon our souls their own blessed stillness and the shade of peace. But I was not alone, for there were hearts that gazed and felt as I did, throbbed like mine at sights of grandeur and sublimity, and worshipped nature in the self-same faith. But they as if it know, and separate paths ordained to walk, and to each one assigned their own peculiar joys and pains, no more together to be shared. They met and parted, as those who must have no continuance here. Immortal Visions Dawn Upon Me Now by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Immortal visions dawn upon me now. I see my blessed one kneeling near the throne, the amaranthine wreath upon his brow, and fain would hail him, my beloved, my own. He starts to hear again that well-known tone, and turns on me his eyes of blissful love. Ah, dearest brother, early art thou flown, our arms, I cry, to those pure realms above. Sadly our hearts require thee. At that voice beams forth again his own benignant smile. I know you weep me but a little while, and through the eternal years we will rejoice. O sister, sorrowing o'er my earthly bed, think of these realms and be thou comforted. In ancient times, one spot, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In ancient times, one spot was sacred to the brave, the laurel waved for him who died his land to save, and heroes who had bled, returning in their pride, stood their crowned brows with holy dust beside. The matron's foot grew slow as she approached the shrine. There did she lead her child and say, "Such fate be thine." Warriors, with reverent awe and glowing faces, gazed upon the trophies bright, there unto Vela raised. The flashing eye they came, their triumph to receive, Fame's fan immortal crown, all that their land could give. At last a meek form came, a pure and gentle brow, and the bright wreath was his, but it was no warrior now. Zeno, the virtues gained, a triumph loftier far than ever hero bore, returning from the war. Thy blameless life, thy truth, thy noble deeds and words, thy passions chained and kept by stronger power than swords, thy patient trust in grief, thy humble heart in joy, thy life exposed to save whom power would fain destroy. These from thy citizens and wandering tribute claimed, and at the shrine thy worth 1,000 tons proclaimed. Where Vela once had trod, no holier virtue smiled, and nobler conqueror there, thy country hailed her child. In chains and darkness Peter slept, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In chains and darkness Peter slept, round him the very soldiers lay. A light across the prison swept, a brightness brighter than the day. An angel stood, and Peter's sight instant he smote, and called, "Arise." Sudden the close-bound chains divide and fall, he lifts his wandering eyes. His hands are free, the Spirit said, "Take up thy garment, follow me." And awestruck, trembling, Peter fled, even as he saw the angel flee. The wards are passed, the iron gate turns freely for the angelic guest, and in the open street they wait, when past that vision from the blest. The angel fled, then Peter knew, when from his sudden trance he rose, deliverance from the Lord he drew, from Herod and his faithless foes. And is not ours a purer light, a nobler visitant of heaven? Celestial visions bless our sight, celestial hopes to us are given. In our dark prison bound below, the voice of Jesus still is heard, and some their chains will from them throw, and rise to meet their coming Lord. Those prison doors he soon shall break, the iron gates of death shall free, his faithful followers shall partake his own all-glorious liberty. In early morn, yet the light, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In early morn, yet the light hath oped its golden wings, and shed a world of beauty on the side. The night's soft shadows scarcely fled, the first note of bird hath blessed the earth lies in holy rest. When evening's sober mantle grey veils nature's beauty in repose, the hum of cities dies away, and the last bee forsakes the rose. And peace her vigil there doth keep, and close even eyes that weep. And in the bosom of the good, the sacred inmate ever dwells, blessed in its own calm sanctitude, in cities or in hermit cells, with holier light than golden day, guiding the traveller on his way. One other scene that light illumes, and o'er it sheds its blissful ray. Divinely bright, through death's dark glooms, shines on the lips that faintly pray, and kindles up the dying eyes with purer fire when fills the skies. In grief's dark hour I ask for thee, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In grief's dark hour I ask for thee, and fast descant my lonely tears. The voice consoling, soothing me, the smile that banished all my fears, are mine no more. I know in heaven may now increase some angel's joy, and nobler ministry is given that gentle heart some blessed employ. An exiled one, I sit and weep. O dost foresee the tears I pour, as I my twilight vigil keep, and give to thee thine own loved hour? I did not think, beloved one, that I could thus have borne thy loss, thus put my robe of darkness on, and bend beneath the bitter cross. With humbled heart I kneel and bow, till light breaks forth amidst the gloom. I feel the God of peace bestow the calm of heaven around thy tomb. Our blessed voices hovering near, how well I know each gentle tone. Ye who on earth were once so dear, though parted, I am still your own. Not hopeless weep, so live, my loved, as soon to meet me here in bliss. Toil on, my labors are approved. Come, share my sainted happiness. Blessed shade, we dry our faithless tears, bend each rebellious thought to heaven, and walk in trust the few sad years still for earthly conflict given. The hope to meet thee on that shore shall soothe the sufferings of the way, nor in our gloom will we deplore thine entrance on thy realms of day. In morning's radiant beam, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In morning's radiant beam, Almighty One, my thoughts ascan to thee. Visions of love rise o'er my soul, and raise it far above the slothing world. And when the day is gone, and the dull night comes, lighted by her star with all her train of glory, still afar from every human eye, absorbed alone, Almighty One, my thoughts ascan to thee, and dreams of everlasting power surround my wandering spirit in the vast profound of the blue depths, and with rapture heart I see in the fair skies, bright stars, earth, sea, and air, God, nature's God, still present everywhere. In the last days shall fools and scoffers rise, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In the last days shall fools and scoffers rise and cry, where is the Saviour's promise flown? For all things on the same career have gone from the creation, sink in vanities and earthly sins. They shall not raise their eyes, but bend their souls to serve their low desires, and mock at a virtue. Suddenly the fires of heaven shall burst on them, in wild surprise, and judgment and petition, and the skies shall pass away. The elements shall melt, arid burning heat through all earth's caverns filled, consume her brightest works amid the cries of breaking hearts. Oh, if such things shall be, should not your souls be pure to meet eternity? In the pale shadows of the silent night, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In the pale shadows of the silent night, meant beloved, my form once more I saw, not as restored from death with trembling awe, but still in all its living beauty bright. Thy smile was breathing still its calm delight, thine eye with purest beams of genius shone. The music of thy voice all was thine own, and fear and sorrow vanished at thy side. Again, as in the years gone by, I turned to hear thee speak the words of peace and love, till my thoughts sought all earthly griefs above, and in my heart a holier spirit burned. Friend beloved, too soon I woke to shed the tears of memory o'er thy narrow bed. Jesus walked forth into Gethsemane, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Jesus walked forth into Gethsemane with his disciples, and said, Sit ye here while I go hence to pray. Then sudden fear and heavy sorrow, with the agony of thought, came o'er him, and as he went on, he fell upon his face and deeply prayed. "Father, if it be possible," he said, "let this cup pass from me." Absorbed alone, he poured his soul to heaven, and humbly strove for perfect confidence. "Yet not as I, but as thou wilt, my Father," was his cry, and his pale lips moved with submissive love. "O Heavenly Father, when my cross appears, thus Saviour-like, may love dispel my fears. Let me not wander comfortless by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Let me not wander comfortless, my Father, far from thee, but still beneath thy guardian wing in holy quiet be. The storms of grief, the tears of woe, soothed by thy love, shall cease, and all the trembling spirit breathe a deep, unbroken peace. The power of prayer shall o'er me shed a soft, celestial calm. Sweeter than evening's twilight dew, my soul shall think its balm. For there the still, small voice shall speak thy great, thy boundless love, and angel forms the mourner call to the bright realms above. I hear that call, alas, I hear those tones so fondly loved, and to that brighter and sinless world I know he is removed. The beaming of his smile is gone, the yearning heart is vain. A brother and a friend I lose, whom I may ne'er regain. To that blessed world, my weeping thoughts shall flee, shall follow him, so long beloved, to immortality. A little time, not comfortless, beneath thy guardian wing, and thou wilt reunite the hearts that now are sorrowing. Life, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. The mystery of life, how it weighs upon the spirit's wings, when first youth dawns, and aspirations beautiful and high fill the young heart with joy. The world's cold faith, like a dark cloud, comes interposed between the heaven within and God, and day by day fades in the breast some fresh and glorious hope, nipped by its skeptic bliss. That unbelief which senses crusted round with earthly things, draweth then the very breath, the poisonous faith of the world's customs and inglorious views, which, day by day, as deeper it imbibes, wanders the soul from its diviner walks. The stars are in eclipse, the heavens are dimmed, even God himself on the eternal throne no more is conscious to the heart obscure. Things palpable are all, and Mammon there sits as a sceptred king, and mortal glories with than vain, shadowy coruscations shed a visionary splendor. Darkened heart, where the sublime and true can enter not, where is the temple, therefore the supreme, the altar fit for God? He comes not there where earthly passions rage, where persecutions lights her unholy fires, where avarice broods over his sordid dreams, where love deserves not the glory of its name. Poor selfish passion, which desolates the heart, he comes not there. Yet this is life, this is the education which the world gives its votaries. Early death, which comes with shadowing peace upon his wings, enfolds the young, unstained heart to heaven, its visions bright, its dearest hopes unbroken, its aspirations yet upon their flight, unsoiled by the world's dust. Why do we mourn thee? Valuing the sweet breath of the dewy morn less than the heat and toil and battling day. Lines to J.E.J. by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Farewell, beloved one, thou wert to me a sweet bright light upon the future throne, and visions of a happy infancy swelled in my heart as if thou wert my own. Oft, as thy deep blue eyes has met my gaze, fond hope of other years has moistened mine, and oh, I loved its little gentle rays, and felt each look around my heart entwine. And thou art gone, away to brighter spheres, from all our love forever passed away. Thy flight is winged above this veil of tears, thy smile is beaming in eternal day. Yet should some relic in our hearts be kept of one who was so beautiful and dear. The love we cherished as our spirits wept, that love shall pass not with a parting tear. For memory sometimes shall our babe replace with all the feelings that were once so sweet. And if we see her with an angel's face, oh let us hope in future thus to meet. Morning Hymn by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. My God, in morning's radiant hour, to thee would I lift up my heart. The shades of night obey thy power, and at thy sun's bright beams depart. From sleep deep trance my thoughts arise, obedient to thy mighty call. With all their powers and energies, and at thy will thou kindlest all. Father and guardian, to thy shrine the life thou shieldest will I bring. All, great Creator, all is thine, my heart the noblest offering. The morning light shall see my prayer, the noonday heats shall witness praise. In evening gloom and cooler air, the grateful hymn I still will raise. And not a star shall shine above, the moon shall never beam her hour, but still my soul shall bless thy love, or, wrapped in wonder, own thy power. And when, with sweet and soothing sleep, my cares and sorrows find a rest, or still oblivion o'er me creep, thy trust shall calm the wearied breast. The Spirit unto thee shall pour the joy or grief of that brief day, review its path when all is o'er, and humbled yet confiding pray. The deep repose, that death-like scene, safe in thy care, shall welcome thee. The shadowy thoughts on thee shall lean, the eye's last beam be raised to thee. And should a deeper sleep impend, a darker hour demand my faith, with thee, Creator, guardian, friend, I'll enter on the shades of death. My Father, when around me spread, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. My Father, when around me spread, I see the shadows of doom, and life's bright visions drop and fade, and darkness veils my future doom. Oh, in that anguished hour, I turn with the still trusting heart to thee, and holy thoughts still shine and burn amid that cold, sad destiny. They fill my soul with heavenly light, while all around is pain and woe, and strengthened by them in thy sight, Father, to drink thy cup I go. Thy will be done, I will not fear the fate provided by thy love. Though clouds and darkness shroud me here, I know that all is bright above. The stars of heaven are shining on, though these frail eyes are dim with tears. The hopes of earth indeed are gone, but are not ours the immortal years? Father, forgive the heart that chucks thus trembling to the things of time, and hid my soul on angel wings, ascend into a purer clime. There shall no doubts disturb its trust, no sorrows dim celestial love, but these afflictions of the dust, like shadows of the night, remove. That glorious hour will well repay a life of toil and pain and woe. O Father, joyful on my way, to drink thy bitter cup I go. O beautiful in life and spirit, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O beautiful in life and spirit, thou hast truly learned Christ, and in thy breast his pure and simple precepts are impressed. A Christian's peace upon thy calm white brow. Thou fearest not sorrow, and the overthrow of fondest hope. In thee could never raise even one distrustful sigh, for around thee place religion's light and virtue's angel glow. Thou dost not shrink from pain, and when the cross is heavy on thee, still thy smile of love beams brightly through thy tears, and far above thy rapt heart's source for comfort in its loss. God is in all thy thoughts, and in thy fair beam faith, and tenderness, and heavenly grace. Oh, better far the heavenly ray by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Oh, better far the heavenly ray had never beamed on mortal sight, with tidings of eternal day to break the dreary gloom of night. Better the pure, inspiring page that breathes of virtue and of peace had never blessed a sinking age, or bade the reign of darkness cease, than that the world with hope so bright, breathing of immortality, should turn away its grovelling sight to feed on human vanity. With glories all revealed, should turn to feed each law, each earth-born sense, nor feel one aspiration burn for goodness, for omnipotence. Shall God in vain unfold the scroll, all radiant with his own bright will, and years on years unheeded roll, while human hearts are recreant still? Or better far the silent grave should shrine at once our broken trust, and the dark weeds should o'er us wave to shroud our perished souls in dust. Yes, better darkness, grief, and doubt than deep obscurity within, and live each heavenly hope without, than that light should shine on sin. It shines, and every heart shall stand exposed to that pure test. O guard that high, that virtuous part, which shields with peace the Christian breast. So shall not on thy soul have shone each hope of loftier power in vain. And though the joys of earth be gone, the gates of heaven shall be thy gain. Oh, blessed with all life's holiest aims can give, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Oh, blessed with all life's holiest aims can give, to charm this passing scene, the feeling heart, the charities that sacred joy impart, the sympathy that makes it sweet to live, the taste that strews each transient scene with flowers, still brightening duty with its own pure grace. Think not that time or distance can efface the example of the memory of these hours. Oft as I turn at misery's helpless cry, or shield the suffering, will thy smile appear, as late it beamed, the fainting frame to cheer, in the dark homes of grief and poverty. For though in other scenes my path may be, all that is bright and best shall lead my thoughts to thee. Oh, do not pity me because I weep, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Oh, do not pity me because I weep, for thoughts of heaven are, in grief's darkest day, still round me with a bright consoling ray, and still my soul a sacred trust I keep, nor would I change this sorrow which I feel now draws me nearer to a father's love, for all the joy that happier hearts may prove, that never tasted suffering, tears may steal from the tired spirit. Memory may revive the dearer visions of the past. The strife may end, but with this frail and tempted life. But not in vain for those high hopes we strive. Angels, perchance, may watch that conflict here, to hail us conquerors to thine own bright sphere. O lead me by thy hand where living streams, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O lead me by thy hand, where living streams of purest pleasure flow, and to the heart a fadeless and eternal hope impart, and kindle in my soul the holy beams of heavenly light, which o'er the cares and woes and toils of earth shed such a blessed peace. But earth's vain fears and vainer sorrows cease, and one blessed trust the trembling thoughts enclose. So shall I gaze, with eye undimmed and calm, on the vain pageants of this fleeting scene. So, shrined in faith, unchanging and serene, drink deep from fountains of the holiest balm, those living waters. Let me hear thy voice, call to thine sources, and I will rejoice. O world of spirits, O glorious world of mind, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O world of spirits, O glorious world of mind, where down the stream of time high thoughts have burned, and steps of heroes, sages, martyrs turned, and their great deeds and lofty dreams enshrined, if, in the temple pure, severe, refined, your labours a religious alpha made, gathering all lands, all ages in its shade, till even through heaven glooms that far light shined, the foot of one weak, ignorant, unknown, may trembling enter, take your worshipper, who, with humble hope and reverent fear, would lay a pilgrim's offering at your throne. A heart that thrills with admiration deep, and eyes that holy tears ye cause to weep. O ye wild winds that with resistless sweep, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O ye wild winds that with resistless sweep scatter the troubled clouds, and through the sky send your portentous harbingers on high. Wild flash, dim storm, and tempest o'er the deep. O sleep, by every prayer I bid you sleep. Hush your strange music, back into your caves. Angel of peace, walk forth upon the waves, and o'er the trembling sea the vigils keep. Outspread thy wing o'er the tired voyager, and gently waft him o'er the sunny spray. Bid the wild lightnings at soft distance play, and tenderest breezes stir the quiet hour. Be thy blessed calm around him as he moves, and oh, restore him to the hearts he loves. Oh, open to that young and suffering heart, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Oh, open to that young and suffering heart, Father of mercies, that bright blessed ray of power, to chase the fiends of care away, and tender thoughts and sweeter hopes impart. Unfold thyself, all goodness as thou art, all excellence and beauty to a soul, be heaven's own softness in the tears that start, and every sigh breathed in thy blessed control, or raise them from the tilings of time and earth, the hopes and fears and sorrows born of dust, to the high glories of his heavenly birth, and manly duties of his earthly trust, till doubt and grief and youthful anguish cease, and thou thyself become his strength and peace. Oh, seize this hour, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Oh, seize this hour, for day by day death lies in ambush for his prey. Fill it with virtuous toils and cares, he spreads around his thousand snares. He lurks in summer's sickly breath, the winter winds are winged with death, and autumn in her mellow stores diseases amidst the richest showers. But thou in every season brave, walk calmly o'er that hidden grave, where Christian duties, aims divine, to thee make every season shine. The summer's sickly air may bring disease and suffering on its wing, but holy patience waits on thee to sweetly soothe thy misery. Should pestilence and autumn's shade sudden thy blooming health invade, unshrinking thou the dart shalt bear, for God himself is with thee there. And should the winter's fiercer hours, the bursting tempest on thee shower, amidst that elemental strife, calm shalt thou view eternal life. The Christian heart shall now not fear, though death in every shape appear. Amid the waves' most awful form, it sees a Father in the storm. O thou, whose heart of kindness oft, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O thou, whose heart of kindness oft hast bade the stranger find a rest, and each attention kind and soft, that might revive the very breast. O thou, whose delight is to bestow the friendly smile, the gentle care, and having soothed the sufferer's care, then joy, then gratitude to share. O think not vain those cares, those hours, though far from thee the loved ones part. For heaven in glad requital showers its peace upon the generous heart. Omnipresence, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. How sweet in holy solitude to fold the hands and raise the heart, no sounds to mar the sanctitude that sacred silence doth impart, when, on the hushed and pensive air, a still small voice is answering prayer. How sweet to feel a present God, communion blessed and deep, turn from the paths by others trod, and kneel alone to weep, and pour each inmost thought to Him, the tears of love, our eyes that dim. We hear Him in the silence round, we breathe our own, our childlike prayer. No voices break the hush profound, the holy calm that fills the air. Alone with God, our spirits rise and claim affiance with the skies. And sweet it is in sacred walls, surrounded by our friends, to stand, the selfish love that oft enthralls, to cast and join an holy band, to hear then choral voices raise, along with ours, the hymn of praise. To hear the preacher's solemn voice, inspiring hopes and dreams of heaven, and call his people to rejoice and hail the great salvation given, or in a gentler, humbler tone, their errors and their sins to own. For sweet it is in prayer to bow, there every head is humbly bent, and thousand hearts in reverence low, then mingled vows to heaven have sent, forgetful of each meaner aim, kindling our universal flame. In sacred fane, O loneliest spot, O God, alike thy presence dwells, for space or time to thee is not. In public haunts or hermit cells, to thee the good, the pure, the wise, send everywhere a sacrifice. On a Late Violet by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Poor purple lingerer of the fading year, whose leaves of withering blue their dying sweetness drew from suns more genial and from skies more clear. How tenderly and cold thy blossoms now unfold, the buds engemmed with winter's first cold tear. The wild autumnal storm which whistles o'er thy form will in its ruthlessness exhale thy slight perfume upon the gale, and thou still lower hang thine humble head. Then come and on the tomb of one whose short-lived bloom was like thine own, thy parting sweetness shed. For she, like thee, when wintry storms appeared, her modest head upreared, and in her gentleness defied the blast. Like thee she faded slowly, day by day, like wine her early bloom exhaled away, when summer suns and the bright hours were past. On My Father's Birthday by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. There is a day we love, thither it rise o'ercast with clouds, or bright in sunshine dressed, in the wild storm or softer summer skies, to us forever sacred, ever blessed. With its first beam a prayer is in our breast, and many a wish is fondly breathed to heaven. Let all its best and holiest gifts be given, a father's reverenced head with its own rest, the calm of peace, the good man's recompense, may shed its halo round his life's decline, and every added year may brighter shine. As setting suns a richer glow dispense, thy memory's beams, like angel smiles, shall pour hope's brightest radiance our life's closing hour. On reading the sermons of a Reverend Mr. Buckminster of America by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Our sainted virtue, as upon thy page with beaming heart and eyes suffused I bend, life seems fresh beauty and fresh hope to blend, kindled by thy deep thoughts. Yes, age to age shall breathe thy inspiration at thy shrine, where holiest visions greeted thy young prayer. 'Tis ours to meet thee, that high trust to share, and gird our spirits for thine race divine. Still, Still before us shall thine image shine in the unclouded glory of its power, pure, virtuous, steadfast, even in death's dark hour, calm to the last amid thy frame's decline. O consecrated genius, thou shalt be a star to guide to noblest victory. On the death of a beloved friend, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. God, who reigned within the heart, ever thy thoughts apart, now have called thee hence, thou hast trod the blissful way, to the realms of radiant day beyond our mortal sense. Fondest prayer and holiest tears, trembling hopes and tender fears, vainly called thee back. Long thy spirit, winged for heaven, with its bonds of clay had striven to gain that blissful track. And thou art there, our thought, thou bright, can never scale that infinite, the holy of our God. Thy tender heart, thy gentle love, now shine in angel forms above, amid that blessed abode. Yes, he whom thou hast served so well to glory inaccessible, now wings thy radiant flight. Thy patient cares, thy tears are o'er, and his own hand doth now restore thy youth for ever bright. Amidst that bliss, from that pure throne, spirit beloved, once look down on these thy children here. With pitying eye behold their loss, and mark them humbly take their cross, and check each faithless tear. In their meek footsteps bid them walk, at dewy eve still with them talk in nature's melodies. Let each fair flower, each fragrant scene, recall the spot where thou hast been with memory's fondest sighs. Allah, yes, be with us still, still guide the loved ones fostered at thy side, reared by thy tenderness, thy wisdom calm, thy heavenly faith, thy patient love, preserved till death, shall still protect and bless. For tears may sometimes gem the flowers that fall of days and vowed hours, to grief we will not dare, but fondly on our breasts will place the relics that shall still retrace the image cherished there. On the death of A.C. by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In private shades there dwelt a patriot heart, most noble, generous, guileless, and sincere. Well does his early grave demand our tear. How few so friendly, so devoid of art, with cordial warmth on all he would bestow his own o'erflowing kindness unconfined, while the rich stores of his high-cultured mind humble he hid, and only few might know. Much shall we miss thee on our onward way, thy ready smile, thy friendly clasp of hand. But those affections, now in heaven's own land, are blest. With those thou lovest in earlier day, and they thou leav'st behind will trustful wait, till for them too shall ope the golden gate. On the death of a little girl, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. How early faded, while a mother's heart wove the fond visions of thy future years, and felt the dawn of thy young life impart a thousand hopes, a thousand tender fears. Now the pale smile of death thy beauty wears, and she must yield thee to the silent grave, while o'er thee fall affection's lingering tears, and the cold weeds above her loved one wave. Yet art thou blessed, and smiling far above their weeping gaze, in the eternal bowers, one of the rarest and the loveliest flowers. Thou bloomest on, all innocence and love, musing that blissful dream, thou now most blessed, and thou again shalt clasp a parent's breast. On the death of the young German author, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Pure spirit, who in wings of love descended amidst the bright and beautiful on earth, yet with a being conscious of thy birth, of youthful dignity, and ever blended to poet's heirdom of high thought, with all thy sad thought radiant youth, how soon did life call from thy bleeding bosom the young strife, and heavy clouds of sorrow o'er thee fall. Yet wouldst thou not recall that gift which brought to thee such peace and purity, though grief with spectre shades thy fancy did appall. Still through the deepening gloom one angel form did come, beckoning unto thee with a smile divine, and the young glowing heart the freshening hopes did start to hail the love that bed on earth been thine. In sun or shade, in calm or storm, a sweet and shadowy form was ever at thy side, and wore the features of thy sainted bride. Ah, fatally too fond, her gathering arrows she spread, and winged the dart that sent thee to the dead. Thou too didst gaze, thy promised joys beyond, with yearning all too true, for her who for long years had vanished from thy view. Heaven, pitying parted love, called thy pure soul above to its true home and ever dearest rest, where, with thy young love blest, thou mightest rove through calm Elysian bowers, and with thy fancy high look down on this our sky, quaffing the sweets of rich immortal flowers. There in beatitude, with all supreme and good, thy glorious nature might its powers unfold, far from a world to thee so lone and cold, the while that world that saw an hour unfurled the unripe fruit of thy young spirit's bloom, erected thee a bier, and shed a parting tear, hanging an unflowered laurel on thy tomb. Ere ye die, in foreign scene from thy pure lit tracks glean thoughts far too high for tears, and hopes for years to come. On the Death of My Brother H.R. by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In Eden's blessed and favored land did angel footsteps print the earth, and midst those sacred gardens stand the visitants of heavenly birth. And Adam hailed the brow divine, the music of the loftier sphere, awestruck beheld the bright rays shine, and bent in holy calm to hear. Sweeter than sapphire or the flower flowed the blessed words of heavenly love, as in that hushed and solemn horn the angel called his thoughts above. Entrancing visions filled his soul of dignity and power and grace, and yielding to the high control celestial hopes inspired his face. The angel passed, yet Adam stood from that brief gaze a nobler man, aspiring to a loftier good and part of a diviner plan. The angel passed, yet o'er his brow a more immortal spirit flies. He feels the tear of rapture flow, and stands with fixed and traced eyes. Even like that angel form wert thou, lent for a season to our way. The stamp of heaven on thy pure brow, its love within thine eyes mild ray, and every heart confessed thy power, with reverence thy young Virtuous saw, and hailed thee in thy youthful hour, thy dignity a guide, a law. No shining wings adorned thee then, and yet the angel trace was there, as mingling with thy fellow man thou walked as heaven's immortal hen. Yet oh, replete with human love, and words of tenderest human power, among us didst thou gently move, as if unconscious of thy dower. Thy mission done, thou also passed, yet not till o'er our souls was shed a vision and a love to last till memory and till life he fled. Our mortal gardens blooming shine, as Eden's fair and glorious bowers, and though we see now forms divine, we bless each spot where thou wert ours. On the Death of the Rev H Martyn by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Young Martha, who with fixed and heavenly heart the fondest ties of home and country tore, and sought with weeping eyes a foreign shore, immortal hopes and comforts to impart to beings set in darkness. Toil and pain and sickness could not move thee, for the light of Christian joy was beaming on thy side, and even disappointment's shaft was vain to change thy generous purpose. Yes, 'twas thine in distant climes to breathe a Saviour's name, immortal life, and its pure trust proclaim, and bid the sun of glory on them shine. And though thy virtues met at tuneless tomb, yet Christian tears shall oft emblem thy tomb. Our coming Lord, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Our coming Lord rides lion clouds of light, does his blessed voice salute our listening ear, his chariot wheels, do we perceive them near, his trumpet's call, sounds it on wings of night? Now silent all, but still the Christian eye, touched by the hand of God, his coming sees, not he the cloud, the chariot and the breeze, but pure love, and truth that cannot die, in aspirations of eternity. Virtues that quicken, blissful hopes that save, freedom that breaks the fetter from the slave, and bids its spirit o'er the nations fly. In deeper human love, in meeker power, he comes, and stands triumphant at this hour. Penned in the city's darksome walls I pine, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Penned in the city's darksome walls I pine for the pure air of heaven and mountain breeze, to hear the fresh winds sigh among the trees, and gaze once more on nature's face divine. Alas, in vain, for varying pain is mine, sickness and weariness. Sometimes I think that but for one dear being, on the blink, I would not ask to linger, to confine the heart that pants for freedom, to endure a tortured frame with every blessing round, to dream of woods and waters and the sound of birds most musical, and feel how poor the town's vain scenes to one whose steps would be on mountains wilds mid nature's liberty. Perfection, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Perfection is from effort, noble deeds and faculties accomplished to their ends, and tempered powers and thoughts attuned like chords to all earth's harmonies, to draw sweet music even from discordant things, and blend the whole in one celestial strain. This is not done like the light sweeping of a full-toned lyre. Perfection is from effort, nights of study of nature's solemn law, not idle dreams, but reveries that reach the starry heavens and read their shining wonders with delight and a mysterious awe, and days of toil through the linked paths of science, intricate as labyrinthine wonders, yet pure truth running through all their mazes, still to chase with an unwearied ardor, and calm eves of deep and blissful prayer to consecrate, and rise from earth, its hopes and fears and cares cast like an earthly garment, till the soul stands disencumbered at the throne of God, filled with all blessed aspirings. This is not like a child's careless game, it is a task for an immortal spirit. Ancient heroes achieved no greater victory, though they died in arms to save their country, for the battle, the holy battle for eternal truth, midst the conflicting forces of the world, perversiveness, error, passion, is still nobler. Providence, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. To all that lives has God assigned a strength proportioned to its day. The smallest bird that skims the wind finds through that pathless air a way. The tribes that northern regions range, the polar ice instinctive shim, and wing their flight, unknown and strange, unerring, to a warmer sun. The frailest forms, then heads that race, weak, shivering at the wintry blast, if they had power, his love would praise, who shields them till the storm be past. And shall not we, his nobler care, whose hearts he fills with hope and joy, the faith to trust and strength to bear, in grateful praise our lips employ. She fell asleep, and she was beautiful, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. She fell asleep, and she was beautiful, an angel smile on her pale lips reposed. Her soft blue eyes as tenderly were closed, as if with slumber's very sweetness full. A languid charm was round her, on her brow lingered the thoughts of heaven. Could this be death? If so, a prayer had closed the gentle breath, a prayer of faith and love. A radiant glow of youthful hope wears not a smile like this, divinely happy. She is past all fear and all distress. She lies upon her briar as if she dreamt, and her dream was of bliss. If this be death, life in its loveliest bloom may rival not the visions of a tomb. See Deseris Pereo by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. He seemed to love her, and her youthful cheek wore for a while the transient bloom of joy, and her heart throbbed with hopes she could not speak. New to delight and mute in ecstasy, he won that heart in its simplicity, all undisguised in its young tenderness, and smiling saw that he, and only he, had power at once to wound it or to bless. She gave to him her innocent affection, and the warm feelings of her guileless breast, and from the storms of life she sought protection in his dear love, her home of earthly rest. In this sweet trust her opening days were blessed, and joyously she hailed her coming years, for well she knew that even if distressed, there would be one kind hand to dry her tears. He left her, and in trouble she awoke from her young dream of bliss, but murmured not over her secret sufferings, nor spoke to any one upon her cruel lot. You would have deemed that he had been forgot, or that her heart was careless to the stroke, but on her cheek there was one hectic spot. 'Twas little, but it told her heart was broke. And deeper and more deep the painful flush daily became, but all distress seemed o'er, save when the life-blood gave a sudden rush, then faded into paleness as before. At once too proud, too humble to deplore, she bowed her head in quietness. She knew her faded prospects could revive no more, yet was she calm, for she had heaven in view. She loved, and she forgave him, and in dying she asked a blessing on his future years. And so she went to sleep, meekly relying upon that power which shall efface all tears. Her simple turf the young spring floweret wears, and the pale primrose grows upon her tomb. And when the storm its little blossom tears, it bows its head, an emblem of her doom. Sonnet on the Missionary Smith by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. There is no tomb for thee, the martyred one. Heroes have laurels, sages have then fame, but thine is an unheard, unhonored name. Thou art gone down into thy grave unknown, yet heaven hath registered thy deeds of love, thy glorious sacrifice as eye hath seen, whose light around thy path hath ever been, to raise thy soul all human fear above. The oppressor triumphs, our trembling slave he now exalts, but there shall come a day, should sweep his pride from the bright heaven away, and then thy blood shall loud for judgment crave, and thou stand calmly in that awful hour, which flashes vengeance on thy tyrant's power. Sonnet to Mrs. R. by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Thou, angel-like, sitt'st at the couch of pain, inspiring thoughts of heaven, while in thine eye there lingers the soft tear of sympathy. There's a holy rapture. Yes, in vain pain, sickness, anguish, rivals to thy love, would dim the hope and quench the sufferer's faith. Thy tender smile disarms the sting of death. At thy bright presence all its fears remove. Thou enterst, and with thee the visions come of the blessed spirits and immortal bowers. The very fragrance of thy fading flowers breathes some sweet thoughts, and whispers of that hope. where, when these days of pain and weakness flee, the unfettered soul shall meet its God and thee. Sonnet to my father on his birthday, March the 8th, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. However, as in years of old, this day, my father, dawns upon a grateful band. 'Tis not that spring's soft air our brow has fanned, or breathes the promise of the coming May. No, sweeter thoughts around our bosoms play, of fond affection, which through life has been a sacred bond, through every changing scene, of power to chase our doubts and griefs away. How long, my father, may thy hand renew the links which bind us in such dear accord? Still may this day, beloved to us, afford the light and joy our earlier life it threw, while deeper prayer and fonder praise we pour to him whose love is mighty to restore. Sonnet to the Rev W H by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Yes, go to other scenes, but do not fear the voice of peace and love, so often heard within these walls, each pure and holy word breathed by thy lips, and other seasons here shall fade within our hearts. No, not in vain he hast raised for us the fervent prayer, and bade our fainting spirits soar again to heavenly hopes, and cast off mortal care, pointing our path to virtue and to bliss. Oh, we will laugh the way thy steps have trod, and thine own faith, thy trust, thy holiness, shall shine to guide us still, and from our God in these devoted hours will we implore a blessing on his lot, whom we may hear no more. Supposed to be addressed by a little girl to her mother, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Mother, do not mourn for me, do not pour such anguished tears. I am happy, I am free from the toil of mortal years. Some sweet season did I rest on thy bosom, now I fly through the regions of the blest, and my angel pinion try. Never o'er my infant head came the shades of doubt or fear, brightly my young morning fled, till an angel called me here. Brief the summons, O my mother, were it not for leaving thee, these are blissful scenes, far other than the dreams of infancy. Thou art mourning, thou art pale, how shall I of comfort tell? Or that I could rend the veil and could show thee where I dwell. I admit the cherub housed now surround a father's throne. All I loved on earth the most soon will be again my own. Dearest mother, weep no more, tears like these would shade my bliss, if on this immortal shore there could be unhappiness. Think not of thine earthly loss, only see thy child in peace. Take, O take, the hitter cross from a early blessed release. And when tears of bursting sorrow tell thy heart's unuttered pain, look unto that glorious morrow, when I shall be thine again. Sweet warbling bird, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Sweet warbling bird, I cannot sing like thee, who with that clear and liquid harmony, thrilling thy little throat, a chorus so divine dost raise to thy supreme Creator's praise, love quivering in each note. I cannot hit the morning breezes greet, a strain so rich and so elastic sweet, as thou dost throw around, till every crisp sapphire there, that takes its circuit in the air, delight strings the sound. One only offering can I impart from the still fountains of a happy heart, a gush of gratitude, which, while thy praises fill the sky, haply with them may rise on high, and through heaven's gate intrude. Take them, O Father, with the music clear, which in my breast I ever reverent hear, breathing thy glorious name, and touch the chords within, until they rise with pure, deeper, holier melodies to thee, from whom they came. That face, oh, it is eloquent with love, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. That face, oh, it is eloquent with love, and bright with purity and holiness. And yet it wears the sign of past distress, a trace of sad thoughts time may not remove. The conflict has been there, yes, dear streams have been resigned at duty's sacred call. 'Tis past, the gentle heart has yielded all, yet hope and faith now shed than hollowed beams around the sufferer's brow. For the lost trust of earthly joy the eternal glory shine, lighting that pale cheek with a heavenly grace. Now conquered all the trials of the dust, and past the bitter tears, for dreams divine mingle with sorrow in that calm, sweet face. The Adieu by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I leave thee, dear one, leave thee, and long the time must be, and spring must shine, and summer bloom, ere I return to thee. And when the well-known door again is opened to my call, I perhaps may hear thy little feet resounding in the hall. And all thy infant helplessness will then have passed away, thou wilt not have remembered me for many a distant clay. And tones of mine, thou fondest once, will fall upon thine ear, even as a stranger's voice might come that never had been dear. My smile will be a stranger's smile, and yet this heart for thee will utter many an absent prayer upon a bended knee. And in sadness or in sorrow that face will oft arise, and like a seraph's shine o'er me with those blue, peaceful eyes. The Bereaved One by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In loving thee I need not fear to meet a haughty rival's frown. There's hut to grave my rival here, or heaven which claims thee for its own. In loving thee I need not dread unkindness, change, or perfidy. The love whose hopes are from the dead shall, like themselves, immortal he. It is more sweet to me by far to sit and think upon thy tomb, than any living pleasures are, in all then bright and breathing bloom. And dearer are the silent sighs I breathe to thy young Virtue's shrine. More blessed the tears that dim my eyes, than all the joys that once were mine. Thy light of love is on my path, thy voice is in the summer breeze, and all of beauty young life hath is in thine hallowed reveries. I trace the lines once traced by thee, that hand is mouldering, but the thought beams through death's cold obscurity, with every tenderest feeling fraught. I fear not the dark, voiceless tomb, it is the spot that shields thy youth, and there the guardians of thy doom wait the soft forms of hope and truth. There sleeps thy perished heart, and there my funeral anthem oft shall rise, the offering of affection's tear, her best and holiest sympathies. Cold as my hopes, thy silent grave, lone as my fate, that unshared spot, their foreign flowers now o'er thee wave, entombed by hands that knew thee not. Yet dar'st thou live in friendship's tear, still dar'st thy fair example shine, and fondest hopes embalm thy briar, of those whose lives would be like thine. And though the grave would rival me, the worm destroy that perished heart, yet ere I cease to grieve for thee, shall life and memory both depart. The Blind by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Alas for those to whom this frame of heavenly workmanship is dark, who hear from whence its beauty came, and yet that beauty never mark, but gaze with dim and sealed eyes on the green earth and laughing skies. They walk abroad, and nature seems enveloped in a death-like gloom, unseen its soft and varied gleams. To them 'tis but a living tomb. The dawn of the sweet morning light can never wake them to delight. They feel the influence evening brings, its gentle calm, its cooling shade, but the rich colouring which it flings our fields and woods in bloom arrayed, alas, to them 'tis joyless all, as spread with a funeral pall. And yet there is a brighter world of thought and feeling for the blooms, and in their inward soul unfurled, a sun more brilliant it illumes. Religion's holier light is theirs, and morning praise and evening prayers. And friendship's soft and soothing tone still gently meets their charmed ear. Mine can with mine communion own, a sympathy forever dear. Fairer than morning's sunny ray, and lovelier than the close of day. But there are who walk on earth with every sense a sealed power, unconscious from when. Hapless birth of mental charm or inward dower, no holy hopes to fire than breast, but ever nobler aim repressed. And are not these more hapless still, in spirit blinded to the light that scatters every earthly ill, and shines amidst affliction's night? The blinded heart of those whose eyes ne'er see communion with the skies? The Cholera by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. There may be those that fear thee, for conquering scourge of earth, and tremble as they talk of thee around their quiet hearth, who, as they gaze on those they love, will feel their cheek turn pale, as tidings of thy dark approach arise upon the gale. There may be those who shudder as thine agonies are told, and closer to their beating hearts than dearest ones enfold, who listen to the voice that tells of thy resistless power, as a lightning that may strike them in their gayest, happiest hour. Oh, pass them by, thou tyrant, in this then hour of bloom, with all their sunny hopes and dreams, too lovely for the tomb. Youth, beauty, rapture, gaiety, these are not for thee. Ah, lightly pass the tranquil homes where happy spirits be. But if, insatiate as thou art, thy victims still must fall, of those whose dearest ones are gone, extend thy fatal pall. The weeping orphan will not shrink, all fearful though thou prove, if thou wilt yield her once again a parent's smile of love. And she whose dreams, whose fondest dreams, lie low within the grave, who o'er the most beloved on earth now sees the green grass wave, the fever and the pestilence, oh, what are they to hear? The heart that lives o'er such a loss, hath it aught to fear? Then come in all thy horrors, there are hearts that will not quail, there are facts that will smile on thee, as other cheeks turn pale, and briefly do thy cruel work, soon, soon as it is over. Immortal hopes, immortal joys, shall spring beyond thy power. The Departed by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. The friends we love have passed away, the forms so dear no more we see, no more we meet the eye's mild ray, or catch the smile of sympathy. No, these are fled. Heart, ask thy heart, are no fond traces lingering there, memories we would not bid depart, and hopes that bless the hour of prayer? Is not the dream of heaven more sweet, bright with the living forms of love? Does not each trial that we meet raise our rapt spirits more above? Yes, death, that pales our glowing cheek, tells of an angel's opening bliss. Again we view the form we seek, bright with immortal happiness. For faith, delighted, views that scene of fadeless glory and of grace, forgets the years that intervene, and bids us see them face to face. For though a few brief ills of life, a little pathway marked with tears, some struggles of a Christian strife await us in those future years. Soon, soon they pass, and even now those angel forms may guard our way, wave the blessed chaplet for our brow, and guide our footsteps, lest they stray. In every thought to heaven alight, and every virtuous deed and aim, art our departed at our side, whose memory fans the sacred flame. And is this death, first born to God, to trace that pure celestial sphere, and rise in faith and hope, unawed to joys we scarce can vision here. How early blessed, how vain our sighs, our fond impetuous tears, how vain! To heaven we raise our weeping eyes, our loss is their eternal gain. The Desert Flower by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. As in the cold and desert sand, the traveller found a single flower, and gathered it with trembling hand, an emblem of some happier hour, to bloom and die within his heart in memory of his distant home, and felt the social teardrops start amid the silence and the gloom. So o'er my long and weary way I see thy smile at distance move, and o'er my saddening spirit lay thy looks of sympathy and love. The desert path I long have trod, and thou, the single flower, dost shine of all that dark and dreary road, forever mine, forever mine. The Fairy by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. I'll be a fairy, and drink the dew, and creep through the honeyed flowers, and sleep in the violets' tender blue, and dance ye the evening hours. My music shall hear the soft low gales, which sigh through the dark green trees, and heaven's breath swell the gossamer sails, with which I swim the breeze. The glow-worm shall be my gentle light, and a lily's cup my bed, and I'll warm me in the sweet moonlight, and on fallen roses tread, and forever fresh the grass shall grow around my mystic ring, and little murmurs sweet and low shall answer when I sing, and I will hold a fairy chord, and call each slumbering fay, and wild and gaily will we sport, as the twilight fades away. The Farewell by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. We part, but not forever. I look on through the dim vista of some troubled years of conflict and of toil, and thou art there, with that unchanging smile, still beautiful. And though I weep that we are parting now, I shall not be alone. On Shabbat morn all holy things will breathe in their mild voice, a deeper sacredance, a meeker trust, and I shall gaze on nature and shall read the language of thy love, which over all flows in paternal kindness, gathering in reflected brightness from the fleeting hues of outward beauty, and our human things brooding in deeper fondness. I should see in nature's humblest forms some hidden charm, in lowliest minds some undeveloped good, guided by thy blessed trust, and learn like thee to feel for all that lives. And if I turn to history's page, and read of noble deeds, while my cheek kindles and my spirit burns, where shall I hail thy spirit, feel the glow more warm upon my heart, remembering thee? And if I sink beneath the cares of life, unsolaced and unseen, and think the time long for a lonely path, then thou shalt stand and beacon back despair, and point my steps to the blessed realms of peace, and gently say, "Oh, meet me there." And at those magic words new hope shall breathe through all my wearied frame. My bonds of earth feel lighter, and at eve, when the deep prayer is trembling on my lips, repose upon my heart shall softly fall, from memory's holy shrine, and thou be there, thou the still unforgotten. The Fate of a City by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. When time's cold skiff has swept away the pride of all this busy town, and yielding to its mighty sway, its buildings sink in ruin down, its streets forsook, its temples bare, upon its quays the wild bird lone, and where its thousands rend the air, a stranger sitting on a stone. As gazing on those ruins wild he muses on its former state, its loaded marts so closely pilled, its widespread commerce and its fate. Ah, human glory, doth he sigh, how short thy date, how swift thy doom. A few brief centuries hasten by, the busy town becomes a tomb. And what survives? Its gold is dust, its proud once ashes. Is there naught, no memory of a pure and just, no trace of all their hand has wrought to live to future age? There came a voice from the surrounding earth which cried, there yet survives one name, a noble spirit here had birth. The Mother's Prayer by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. The mother's face, it is pale with care, though lighted with smiles, such as mothers were. For sickly the hue which is on the brow, the eye beams with love and with joy below. There's a hope and a trust in that mother's heart. She does not dream of a horn to part. And now she has bended her knee to pray, while sickness is wasting her life away. Her hands are folded in fervent love. Her spirit's desire is borne above. Oh, not for herself those pleadings deep, for the health of her child in his rosy sleep. For him with the light and the sunny face, which daily ripens in bloom and grace. Oh, her dreams are all of his future years. She fancies his griefs with a mother's fears, and yet as his smile sweet visions play to chase all those sadder thoughts away. She prays that a father's love will shrine his opening youth with a trust divine, that the world, in its varied forms of ill, may never his guileless bosom fill, but, all unsullied, the heavenly flame may return to him for whom it came. Oh, more and more earnest that mother's prayer, as her sighs are breathed on the midnight air. Her own sad fate she has all forgot, the unkindness that wounds her daily lot, the neglect that leaves her to weep unknown. Oh, her heart is full of her child alone. And the prayer is heard, it is traced above, in the glowing light of a mother's love. A few short days, she must fade and die, and the baby will heed not her farewell sigh. But when she is laid in her youthful grave, that prayer will have power to soothe and save. O human love, what a load it would be, fearful and sad, to cherish we, in a world where all things lovely fly, the delighted gaze of the dreamer's eye, but for the hope that cannot fade, for the clear bright faith that knows no shade. There is a land where the smile is true, where the cheek is ever a healthy hue, where the heart for unkindness weeps no more, and the thousand fears of earth are o'er. And in that land, oh, is it not sweet to think that the mother and child will meet? The Mount Gardens by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Upon a peaceful Shabbat day, to a garden fair I bent my way. Pure as the air and fresh the breeze, the busy rooks talked in the trees. And I sat me down on a garden seat, and I thought that the scene and the hour were sweet. And I smiled as the bumble groups drew near, whose Shabbat pride was to ramble there. Fond mothers, with then children bright, whose sleek fair hair shone in the light, and fathers, with then little men, living over their childish years again. And the aged man with his staff in hand, and his wrinkled smile as he took his stand, and his clean brown coat, and his gaiters trim, which some fond grandchild had brushed for him. On him too I threw a passing gaze, and said, there may be joy in length of days. Those gay bright groups had passed me all, when I encountered a trio so small. They might have come from the fairy ground, and then wild elfin locks were straggling round, unribboned, uncombed, on their shoulders bare, little outcasts they from a mother's fond care. yet linked in each other was each fond hand. They were running and laughing, a happy band. Each pale thin cheek with smiles was lit, and then naked feet did like fairies flit. And joyously did they quaff the breeze, and run in and out through the circling trees. And then methought that in God's kind sight those outcasts of earth might be gems of light, that in his pure home of peace and love blessed abodes for them might be waiting above. And those I now petied as cherubs rest in the innermost shrine of the Father's breast. And I blessed the love that gave them bliss from the innocent sport of an hour like this. For of all that gay and happy throng that had passed me on my path along, none filled my heart with thoughts so dear of his care as the three little outcasts there. The Poet's Gift by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Oh, guard the poet's gift, an eye of purified and searching fight, a heart of sacred mystery and inward springs of deep delight. Oh, guard the poet's gift, a lyre that thrills with strange and wandering chords. It can richer bliss inspire than ever yet was breathed in words. Oh, guard the poet's gift, a shrine of unseen worship, music high, yet clear, exalted, and divine, an altar kept for deity. The world's cold winds must come not there, where flowers of paradise unfold. No cheerless doubts, no wildering care, no murmuring worship, dark or old. For there doth wisdom keep his hoard, and fancy revel clear and bright, with every noble feeling stored, that inward world is all of light. For nature's hymn is singing there, for ever solemn, ever sweet. And, far away, the clouds of care refuse those joyous strains to meet. Then guard the poet's sacred gift, through every change and every scene, our life's dull cares thy heart to lift, to faith sublime, to hope serene. And strike in holy trust thy lyre, for day by day and year by year the note shall thrill with purer fire, and sweeter music charm mine ear. The Sisters by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. She died in summer eve, the last light pale of lingering twilight on her languid eyes. Around her the last sapphire's gentle gale, and on her ear soft evening melodies. She died midst fragrant dews and closing flowers, her last sigh mingling with the parting breath of the delicious summer evening hours. Her last faint sigh, oh, it was not like death. And did she gaze on all the radiant bloom that shone around her, he its careless pride, amid the coldness of approaching doom, of living beauty saw she aught beside? Bright flower, soft and richly glowing skies, had these her heart, had these her dying sighs? No, there knelt beside her one alone, whose young slight form had riveted her look, a fair cheek, scarce less pallid than her own, a soft clear brow, which bloom had all forsook, dark heavenly eyes filled with resistless tears, the sister of her first and happiest years. She did not weep, but as those eyes she read, with tenderness and grieving love o'erfraught, the throbbing heart and faltering voice she said, Sister, recall me sometimes to your thought, midst brighter hopes and gayer scenes, or yet let not your heart this evening hour forget. Oh, sometimes, though all else should have forgot, as the south wind shuts the late violet, come with full heart to this deserted spot, and think of days when here we fondly met. Recall our infant sports, our youthful love, and turn some fond and soaring thoughts above. The flowers shall breathe to thee their softest sighs, and fancy mingle my departing breath, and all these mournful evening melodies, or they shall seem to thee my knell of death. Sister, farewell. A cold shade softly fled o'er the bright brow, and she had vanished. The sun shone on me with a scorching heat. By Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. The sun shone on me with a scorching heat. I wished his radiance less, but then methought how many bright and blessed things he brought, making the earth so beautiful and sweet. I thought of all the sickly forms that greet his warm beams with a smile, of the pale face whose rays would light up with a rosy grace the thousand eyes that joy his power to meet. I thought of every little springing flower rising delighted from its dark abode, and then my soul in fervent praise to God blessed fair sunshine and the grateful hour. Nor might one selfish feeling dim the bliss of knowing him who formed a world like this. The Temple by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Into the temple's sacred bound Jesus went forth, and, standing there, he sorrowfully gazed around on that profound house of prayer. For there did Mammon hold his throne, the merchandise of earth, or through all that the heart should holiest own, a spot to God's pure worship due. Then indignation lit that brow of dignity so calm and great, he turned thence stance to overthrow, he warned them of impending fate. This house was sanctified to praise and humblest prayer, but ye profane an altar to your God would raise, make it the scene of earthly gain. Go, carry hence your worldly pride, the pure in heart shall enter here, the humble come their brows to hide, the mourner to dispel his tear. A den of thieves my house ye make, depart. 'Twas peace and silence there, profoundly deep, a calm to break only to holiest sounds of prayer. And Jesus felt the blessed repose divinely sweet. Oh, is there not a soothing for our bitterest woes within that shrined and sacred spot? A holier temple still is ours in the veiled presence of the heart. Our sacrifice, its noblest powers, beyond the proudest domes of art. No worldly fears must enter in that blessed retreat, no sordid care, no clouds of doubt, no stains of sin, that sacred spot with God must share. For pure that shrine must ever he for his own glorious service given, which shares his own eternity, which tastes the happiness of heaven. The True Man by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. He is a man whom noble qualities environ at his birthright, who wears a virtue even as he would a breastplate, easily, and yet close to his heart, whom honor fancies as with a priceless crown, with modest pride, who ever lifts a reverent eye above, and bends a humble knee, whom victory over the world's conflicting forms of sin makes not presumptuous, but pitiful to those who in that fiery trial sink. He is a man who in his inmost soul keeps visions of his God glorious and pure, and then reflection casts on human things, who never walks alone, but in communion with what is bright and holy, listening still the calm sweet voices of the inward guide. He is a man who fears no foe but sin, and meets the clashing evils of his fate and of this mystic life with brow serene, who analyzes human destiny and finds in all its threads a providence, who worships nature second but to God, and casts himself into the beautiful, the spiritual forms of God's benevolence, even with rapturous faith, a sadeless joy, whose heart from youth to age its freshness keeps, watered by dews and fed by suns divine. The World by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. The world must have its own, the best, the truest heart, must bow before its idol throne, and act the trifler's part. The world must have its own indeed, though the young hearts of thousands bleed. It takes the trust from youth, and manhood's nobler faith, from life its holiest truth, and all its hopes from death. The world, the blight is there, and with its breath it brings despair. Their earliest bloom is gone, I see them passing on, as victims to their doom. They dance and sing and smile, nor do they dream the while of the dark ills to come. Death, nothing half so sweet, so sacred and so calm, but feverish cares that eat the soul and find no balm. Envy and pride and fashion's strife will take the holiest bloom from life. Not such, but woe, with thy young sainted brow, speaking of purer things. Thy smiles that breathed of peace, not from a world like this, such as it never brings. In its polluted throng I saw thee move along, as of a holier sphere, and heaven, which marked its own, called to a loftier throne, forbade the lingering here. Ah yes, I joy to know that thou art safe from these cares, doubts, and vanities. And even deeper woe, the world can never thrill that young heart with one pang of ill. There is an hour in which I think of thee, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. There is an hour in which I think of thee. 'Tis when the daylight fades upon the flowers, and the moon dawns upon the evening haunts, and nature smiles in soft tranquillity. 'Tis a sweet horn, for when the sighing wind, with dirge-like music, lulls the world to rest, more plaintive sings the bird upon the nest, and all seems blest. Then I call to mind thy gentle virtues, and the scenes beloved which we together trod, and like a dream most passing beautiful do those days seem, of confidence serene and faith approved. Alas, even like the bright and sunny day, have those delightful scenes all passed away. Thou art enshrined, although thou know'st it not, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Thou art enshrined, although thou know'st it not, with many a blessing, borne on the soft air which hovers around thee for my evening prayer. And thou, although the voice thou hast forgot, art living in the sweetness of its spell, which at heaven's gate is pleading still for thee, invoking peace upon thy destiny, and wishing thee in thy heart's hallowed cell blessed hopes and fairest memories, and such days as may defy the fleeting wing of time, and bear bright fruits of virtue to a clime where they may bloom in the eternal praise. Thou art surrounded thus with holiest charm, and friendship's sacred prayer still shields thy life from harm. Thy holy shrine, O God, I seek, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Thy holy shrine, O God, I seek, with will devoted, firm and meek, and yield thee all my mortal powers to consecrate these sacred hours. Thine be the praise that swells on high from hearts o' love and harmony. Thine be the deep and fervent trust that lifts our spirits from the dust. For visioned glories of thy heaven, O God, are holiest praise he given. Mansions of peace and purity are raised to them our steadfast eye. Let not one worldly thought return, while those bright hopes within us burn, to walk as worthy of the love that waits in glorious homes above. We go again to earthly scenes. The cold world intervenes. Temptations, trials, sorrows come, but they shall lead us to our home. Temptations shall our virtue form, even in the trial's wildest storm. And the dark hours of mortal woe a heavenly Father's smile shall know. In every change, in every grief, there will we seek a sure relief, still looking upwards to our God, till faith's last steadfast step be trod. Oh, then, as life recedes away, we'll hail the break of purer day, and lovelier dreams than angels know shall kindle up our dying brow. Then memories of our Shabbat day shall soothe us as we pass away, and me as our weekly watch they blessed, speak peace to our eternal rest. To a friend on the death of a brother, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. And thou hast proved how vain are mortal ties, the best and sweetest to the silent grave, thy thoughts have followed on, thou couldst not save. Life's first affections, holiest charities, broken by death's cold hand, while from thine eyes the laughter of years has vanished like a shade of a past silent night. Yet shall not fade thy hope or thy affection. The bright skies and radiant heaven, where thy departed one sits smiling in his innocence and youth, received thy vows of pity and truth, ere he had put his robe of glory on. And now thy treasure is indeed above, devotion's holiest glow mingling with human love. To E.J.R. on her birthday, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Brief years ago I saw a bud peep forth, a timid bub, and now the opening rose in fuller bloom its fragrance around us froze, and all the beauty of its ripening worth, and the rich treasure of its inward sweets, the fond admiring eyes we daily find, the humble heart, the high and cultured mind, the modest that shims the praise it meets. Pleasant it is in public scenes to see, amid those riot throngs, so sweet a flower. And yet, beloved, far dearer unto thee, with her bright smiles to glad thy parent bower. Long may thy gentle beauty bless our sight, long thy meek graces that diffuse delight. To my brother W.S.R. by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In leaving thee, my brother, tears will send their faithful tribute forth, and though I go to one who shares my joy and soothes my woe, with the fond names of lover and of friend, yet slowly will my footsteps from thee wend, playmate of infancy and guide of youth, example bright of honor, virtue, truth, and all pure goodness that the soul can blend. In leaving thee, thy lonely hour to cheer, our let remembrance on past loudness muse, when we together brushed the evening dews, or smiling paused the woodland choir to hear, or all the goodness later life has proved, living with thee, still loving and beloved. To my father, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Sleep on, my father, and may rest as sweet, gild the calm hours of life's serene decline. From the world's cares a soft and blessed release, henceforth in home's dear shelter shall be thine. What though thy name in courts and nations shine with brighter radiance than in youth's proud hour, and thou art gifted with an earthly dower of spotless fame, yet dost thou not repine amidst thy children to repose at last, where filial hands the tender homage bring of love unfading, and the offering which will be great when summer hours are past. How long, my father, these dear cares to prove, may thy smile guide us on our toils of love. To my husband, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. 1 year of calm domestic peace and love to this blessed day I owe, and with glad eyes and grateful heart I see the dawn arise, and the fair hours to brighter radiance move. So be thy day, beloved, so softly flow the strand of thy life, in blissful trust, and joys that veil the virtuous and the just, and the bright hopes that loftiest spirits know. while at thy side a fond and faithful one each joy shall share, and gently soothe each tear, and strive to add, with each succeeding year, sweet memories to the seasons that are gone. And happiness itself shall dearer be, while shared, beloved, with my blessed home and thee. To my mother on her birthday, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Thou now no more in our own smiling home, there thou hast made our happy childhood sweet, and winged the hours with little pleasures, fleet but not forgotten, yet where'er we roam, whatever paths we may he doom to stray, our hearts, by time unchanged, are fondly thine. And many a lip which thou hast taught to pray is asking blessings on thy life's decline, and thou shalt still be blessed. The storm is past, a sim of brighter hopes begins to shine. Oh, not in vain thou hast endured the blast, not vainly wrap thee in a trust divine, for the long record of thine untired love, winged by thy cheerless blessings, waits above. To my sister, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. The many virtues which, with chastened light, hath made thy pathway lovely, and have shed a halo of bright hopes around thy head, thrilling with heavenly thought and pure delight thy breast, amid the gloom of sorrow's night, sweet soother of the ills that others share, and softly lightened every hour of care, making each bright hour shine forth still more bright. Oh, not in vain I gaze on, and the years of fond affection I with thee have passed, shall in their sweetness in my memory last. And the blessed home another smile endears, while thought of thee shall often there inspire duty's calm toil and virtue's high desire. To the advocates of religious liberty, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O fearless martyress, to the purest claim freedom of conscience and the rights of soul, undaunted by the despot's fierce control, the wreck of life, of liberty, of flame, how nobly did ye stand ye firm array, when o'er you rushed the persecuting fire. How calmly brave repel the world's mad ire, and your immortal panoply display. Ye died in dungeons, poverty, and chains, but high in spirit, with unshackled mind, and in your deaths bequeathed to humankind the heaven-free thought, which mortal bound disdains. O, not in vain, through blood and tears and strife, ye waged the combat for eternal life. To the Reverend Dr. Channing, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Yes, earth shall still he brightened with the rays which virtuous hearts upon its darkness shed. Freedom shall raise up her exulting head, and point prophetic to the future days. And thine, O Channing, he the patriot's praise, whose words of fire inflame the soul of youth, with heaven's own spirit, honor, virtue, truth, the immortal glory time may not erase. Proceed, while tyrants at thy page turn pale, and unstained hearts throb warmer at its power. Leave to posterity that noblest dower, thine own high mind, which future times shall hail, and dwell enraptured on thy hope and trust, when earth's oppressors he forgot in dust. To the Supreme Being, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Father, oh, sweet indeed will be my prayers if thou wilt lend me virtue for thy shrine. For this infertile earthly soil of mine can yield no fruit but what thy hand prepares. For thou is the seed to spring to holy deeds, which in the heart first germinates and grows. The lovely paths of goodness no one knows until thou shew'st them, and thy spirit leads. O, thou into my mind thy thoughts infuse, that may produce in me intense desire the sacred light to follow, and such fire that fervent lips may praise thee, and my muse be consecrated, and ever free to raise pure hymns and incense to thy holy praise. To the Sweet Briar, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. O sweetest, purest fragrance of what hours dost thou remind me, like thyself all sweet, when iced beloved I fondly joyed to meet, that beamed the welcome amid bowers. The dark green shades, the blossoming banks were there, and are a form the bird beneath them moved, whose every look, whose lightest word I loved. Even then, undimmed by age, unpaled by care. Ah, how much dearer than the dark storm rose that to that heart its ruthless arrows sent. How touching was thy trustful, hushed lament, the blissful laugh that triumphed o'er thy woes, when nature's blessed face was close to thee, thine own still shone in meek serenity. Unhappy he who breathes this mortal breath, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Unhappy he who breathes this mortal breath, a stranger to the high and generous faith which lifts the spirit out of the bonds of death, even with the words the blessed Saviour saith, I am the resurrection and the life, he who believes on me shall never die. Our tidings rich with immortality, how do we greet ye mid this world's vain strife? It is not then a dream, the hope so bright, which heathen nations have desired to see, it shines on us with full and heavenly light, glorious and beautiful. Oh, who would flee its gentle guidance and its peaceful trust for the dim visions of this world of dust? Upon the hill of Mars the apostle trod, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Upon the hill of Mars the apostle trod, and cried aloud the Athenians round, Ye men of Athens, as I passed, I found inscribed an altar to the unknown God, whom thus ye worship, ignorantly awed. Him I declare to you, the mighty One, the Lord of heaven and earth, who dwells alone, not in the temples made with hands, him laud and glorify and praise, who giveth breath and life and all things, who one blood hath given to every separate nation under heaven, and set the bounds of time and change and death, the living God. Oh, lift your eyes to him who is not far from each, although your sight be dim. Verses on the illness of the late S. Austin of Liverpool, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. His lovely dreams are over now, to gaze on nature's smiling face, the throbbing heart and kindling brow, and all have a riot charms to trace, to brush away the morning dews, and climb the mountain's loftiest heights, and mark the sun's first beam diffuse on bill and vale its quivering light. His lovely dreams are past, to gaze upon the water's gilded sheen, and catch the bright and golden rays that evening hangs upon the scene, to wander forth at starry night, the feelings holy as the hour, and gaze upon those worlds of light, and silently admire, adore. To sit beneath some summer tree, with a fair landscape around him spread, and with firm touch unerringly to seize it ere its charm be fled. To stamp upon the tablet white the faithful hand each flitting grace, and there with ever new delight his own still brighter mind to trace. He sits no more beside the stream gathering its fresh and verdant flowers, no more he hails the morning beam, or wanders forth in evening hours. The pale stars sorrowingly look down upon his sleepless couch of pain, and the moon's loveliest beam is thrown to tempt the sufferer's gaze in vain. Yet light is around him, light more pure than ever lit the brightest star, deep love to trust and to endure, a faith, oh, lovelier, fairer far. Calm he reviews a virtuous life, looks up and sees a father's smile, and even affection's bitter strife religion gently can beguile. An earthly fame he knows his bliss, on each loved painting turns his eye. Even then she whispers deeper bliss, she breathes of immortality. She brings the loved ones of his youth, and each dear babe to that bright place, and tells him those blessed words of truth, where he shall see them face to face. 'Tis over now, he mourns no more, his lovely visions, once so dear, he feels, he knows, they are not our rich treasures for some holier sphere. Where shall his noblest thoughts expand, more fully perfected and free? For heaven, that pure, that holy land, for spirits such as his must be. Weep not, though lonely and wild be thy path, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Weep not, though lonely and wild be thy path, and the storms may he gathering round. There is one who can shield from the hurricane's wrath, and that one may forever be found. He is with thee, around thee, he lists to thy cry, and thy tears are recorded by him. A pillar of fire he will heed to thine eye, whose brightness no shadow shall dim. Or follow it still, through the darkness of night, in safety 'twill lead to the morrow. 'Tis not like the meteor of earth's fickle light, often quenched in delusion and sorrow. For pure is the beam, and unfading the ray, and the tempests assail it in vain, when the mists of this world are all vanished away. In its brightness it still will remain. And weep not that none are around thee to laugh, for a Father is with thee to bless. And if griefs have exalted thy spirit above, O say, wouldst thou wish for one less? He is with thee, whose favour forever is life. Could a mortal heart guard thee so well? Or hush the vain wish, calm thy bosom's wild strife, and forbid but a thought to rebel? What is the most beautiful object in nature? By Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. What is in nature's forms most beautiful? The soft, pale moon, when through the expanse of night she sheds our heaven's blue vault her gentle light, making the dark clouds with her splendor full, serenely sailing on her path of bliss. Or the young sun, when from the burning east he rises radiant through the morning mist, and wakes the world to life and happiness? Or the wide sea, which with unbounded surge rolls on, the image of eternity? No, these are beauteous, but unconsciously, the destined course they through creation urge. There is a form more glorious and more bright, the human eye, filled with the soul's pure light. When I forget the sacred power, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. When I forget the sacred power which guards my life each passing hour, when I gaze on flower and tree, yet own no blissful sympathy with nature's charm, when I can look upon the heaven's wide open book, and see the stars in order move, yet feel no thrill of holy love, when all the fairest, brightest, best shall pass my soul unloved, unblessed, even as a dream remembered not, then, not till then, be thou forgot. When the bright presence of the day, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. When the bright presence of the day chases the lingering shades away, and nature bursts to light, with wondering awe and sweet surprise, we see 1,000 tints arise, to deck that presence bright. The sun from ocean's bed doth rise, and hasteth along the glittering skies. A glorious pageant fair, 1,000 birds, with tuneful throats, delight the morning with their notes, and harmonize the air. And man walks forth to gaze around, and from the incense-breathing ground, to raise the dawning eyes, the Almighty Father to behold, beyond that shining dome of gold, beyond those glittering skies. How fair, how bright, how beauteous all, as nature's maddened festival breaks on his raptured sense. The thoughtful brow, the feeling heart, In that blessed choir he bears a part, and hails Omnipotence. That bright, that beauteous day must fade, again in evening's cloudy shade, that brilliant sun must set. But joy, and gratitude, and love, on which his soul hath soared above, oh, these will linger yet. And sweetly midst the gloom of night, as flies the vision from his sight, and darkness veils the earth, shall whisper of that future day, which gives a sun of fadeless ray to man's immortal birth. Where's the almighty temple, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower? Where's the almighty temple, where, in nature's wide domain, glories of ocean, earth, and air, do these his power contain? Yes, nature's wondrous works unfold the great, the eternal will, and walking midst them, as of old, we meet the Lord God still. His eye, well-pleased, creation saw his perfect, beauteous world, obedient to his first great law, successively unfurled. In loveliness it dawned to life, in beauty lay enshrined, and, rising from chaotic strife, revealed the eternal mind. Is there his noblest temple? No. For order reigns supreme, and perfect beauty lay below the first bright morning's beam. Yet God beheld it but the shrine to hold his spirit bright, and bade a being half divine spring forth to life and light. The human heart, there he knew his own blessed image traced, devotion, holy, deep, and true, within that void he placed. His temple there he deigns to fill a calm and hollowed spot. To human eyes 'tis hushed and still, but he forgets it not. With lingering step from thee I go, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. With lingering step from thee I go, to wander in a distant clime. But oh, this heart can never know a moment's change from place or time. Still fondly true to thee its beat, and all beside is nothingness. In sacred thought our spirits meet with an imparted tenderness. And ever at the evening hour some lovely dream of thee will rise, and memory's sweet consoling power in absence calm my secret sighs. Rentnal, farewell, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Rentnal, farewell. The many a smiling day of rural pleasure has gone lightly by, and, like a summer sunbeam, seemed to fly across my spirit, soon to fade away. Farewell, ye deep blue hills, ye waving fields, each lovely landscape brightening to my gaze, the thousand varied charms that nature yields, soon, soon to be the dream of other days. When I shall be far distant, peace be thine. Still may thy cottage smoke amid the trees, may the pure fragrance of a healthful breeze and many a cloudless sun upon thee shine. And oh, may they by simple joys have blessed, and all their wanderings find as sweet a rest. Yes, there are sympathies fate cannot part, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. Yes, there are sympathies fate cannot part, of souls and thoughts that mingle with our own. Though earth and sea their barriers wide have thrown to sever us in being, yet our heart breathes the same hopes, the same aspiring knows, with all the pure and good whom we have met, whose holy influence, lingering round us yet, burns at oppression, or at virtue glows. Oh yes, our future being may disclose the impressions mind has left on kindred mind, thoughts worthy heaven, all sacred and refined, the angel charm which friendship round us throws. And then, beloved, it may be thine to see the hope, strength, joy, which thou hast been to me. Youth, by Jane Elizabeth Hornblower. In the days of our youth is a glow and a feeling, which never on life's checkered path may return. For the world is all brightness and beauty revealing, its guilt or its coldness have taught us to mourn. There's a mirth in our smiles, and a balm in our tears, an unbroken hope, and a lightness of heart, which seldom or never futurity wears, when the freshness of being begins to depart. all nature is dressed in our own lovely dreams, and we image a vision surpassingly thin, and we climb o'er the mountains, or he by the streams, as free as the flowers and the waters from care. And the tears of the day are effaced by the sweetness that waits on a calm and unbroken repose. And day after day in its innocent fleetness brings joy in its rising and peace in its close. But time with its coldness effaces the charm. The flowers are as fair and the lakes are as bright, but alas, the young feelings, so lovely and warm, no longer are there to inspire the delight. And sorrows and cares, which young life never knew, come breathing their mist o'er the heart and the eye. And we turn to the days which so rapidly flew, with a throb of the heart, with a tear and a sigh.